It's time for episode 123 of The Crisis Show here on YouTube and also now on iTunes, courtesy of the For Immediate Release Podcast Network. Good afternoon from upstate New York. My name is Rich Klein. I'm president of Rich Klein Crisis Management and founder and host of The Crisis Show. Today, I want to talk to you about the importance of understanding what public relations, public affairs people do, and to separate what we've been hearing in the media, and especially from people in the White House. I want to talk to you about the difference between advocating for a client and coming up with alternative facts or spinning, or much worse, lying about things that can be proven. Of course, as many of you know, we've heard a lot in the last few days from President Trump's spokespeople. The primary ones, of course, are Press Secretary Sean Spicer and Counsel to the President Kellyanne Conway. Now, both of them have gone out to the media. Kellyanne went on Meet the Press. Sean Spicer spoke from his very first press conference in the White House briefing room, and both of them have said that the crowd at President Trump's inaugural was bigger than President Obama's, or they refuted media reports that showed clearly that in 2009 there were larger crowds in Washington for President Obama's inaugural versus Donald Trump's inaugural on January 20th. And so it's not really about the crowd from my standpoint. It's about this new way of communications from the White House. And the reason I'm concerned about it, and as many of us public relations and public affairs professionals are concerned about it, is because it leaves a bad taste in your mouth about what we do and how we do our jobs. Now, there's a big difference between advocating, passionately advocating for your client, in this case, advocating for a president, versus lying outrightly about verifiable facts. And I want to just read to you something that came across my desk yesterday. It is a statement from the Trade Association for Public Relations Professionals, the Public Relations Society of America, which represents 22,000 communications folks. And they set a code of ethics for our profession. They released a statement yesterday, and I would just want to read you some portions of it. PRSA strongly objects to any efforts to deliberately misrepresent information. Honest, ethical professionals never spin, mislead, or alter facts. We applaud our colleagues and professional journalists who work hard to find and report the truth. That's just a piece of it. And it was a good statement that I thought reflected how I feel about this profession. Now, I am a former journalist myself who crossed over to public relations many years ago. So I have worn both hats. But I take very seriously when people in our profession tarnish the reputation of the many of us who approach our jobs with integrity and honesty every day. I can tell you that I have turned away clients and who have asked me to go out and lie, or to write a press release about a big lie, that's something that didn't happen, to protect the reputation of a company or an individual. I won't do it. There is a difference, as I said earlier, between advocating passionately for your client or telling your side of the story. You don't have to tell both sides of the story, but there's a big difference between telling your side of the story and lying about something that can be verified. And there are many examples of this that have cropped up, not only since Trump became president, but throughout the campaign. So for those of you listening in business and government and nonprofits, make sure that when you're going out to the podium, or you're putting out a video statement, or you're holding a press conference, if you can't answer a question, your job is to communicate the fact that A, you don't know the answer, B, you'll find out the answer and get back to them, or C, you just can't comment on it, maybe because it's a legal proceeding or a court issue, so that you can't talk about it. That's fine. Reporters get that. The public gets that. But you can't go out there, you can't march out messages, either written or verbally, that just aren't true. And we've seen this pattern develop out of the White House. And I don't mean to just pick on the White House. It's just that they are right now in the spotlight. Many of us are watching to see what this new administration does on policy, but also from the standpoint of myself and many of my colleagues in public relations and public affairs that I've had on the show. We're watching to see how they communicate. And what's working for them and what isn't, what doesn't work, and what's very concerning, frightening, if you will, is when you have spokespeople go out there and spread disinformation when the media and other people have already clearly verified issues and facts on many different things. The latest one is that there was voter fraud. And that's what President Trump is still harping on even today. He's going to do an investigation about voter fraud. Many secretaries of state who keep track of these things in their home states have said, no, there was no voter fraud. In fact, he already won, so we don't even know why, from a PR standpoint, he would be fighting this fight. It doesn't make sense from a reputation standpoint at all. But the large issue here is for you to take some guidance. We all in this profession like to watch people at the podium at press conferences because they are all learning experiences for us, and we then can pass on our analysis to our prospects and clients. So right now we're talking about Sean Spicer and Kellyanne Conway because it's a hook for corporate communications folks, people who speak on behalf of the government, local government, state government, regional government, county government, I should say, and as well people who may be speaking for nonprofit organizations. The rules are the same no matter what group you're talking about. And I just want to emphasize right here that there is a huge difference between advocating passionately for your side of the story, for your client, for your boss, whatever the case may be, and going out there and telling a lie. Because it's also really difficult to come back from a big lie, whatever the case may be, if you get caught, and most likely you will. And I think that this is going to catch up to Sean Spicer, Kellyanne Conway, and the administration over the long term. So keep an eye on not just these press briefings, which, by the way, I think are fascinating to watch, the give and take between the media and the spokesperson at the White House. It's obviously a very tough job, and there are some people who have done amazing work in that area over the years. We've watched many of them over the last 35, 40 years, at least I have. So watch it for the education. It's not so much important where you stand on the political side of the spectrum. It's really important to watch how they communicate, how they advocate, and how they spin, which of course is a word that many of us don't like. We have to live with it because we are labeled as that. That's partly our fault. But they're really good spokespeople. The really honest spokespeople tell the truth, advocate passionately, and fight on behalf of their clients. They don't go out there and lie, especially against verifiable visual and written facts. So I just want to leave you with this short message today in this abbreviated version of the Crisis Show. Please let me know what you think. I also wrote a piece on this on my, on Rich Klein Crisis Management Facebook page. You can see the link to a post I wrote about just yesterday. It's also on my LinkedIn profile under Rich Klein. I love to get some feedback from communications professionals, but also executives who have to go out there and face the media. Maybe you have some concerns about your own spokespeople and how they're being trained, and how you go out there in a crisis, how you communicate. Certainly in a crisis situation, you're going to be asked some very tough questions. And I would be the first to tell you that it's not easy. Our job as crisis communications professionals is to get you ready as best as possible for those scenarios. But what you can't do is go out there and obstruct the truth and the facts. If you don't know something, you say, hey, I don't know the answer to that. I'll look into that and get back to you. And Sean Spicer is good at doing that. I've seen him do it, as are most able spokespeople. But just because your boss tells you to go out and tell a lie, you have to be big enough to stand up for the ethics of all of us public relations professionals and public affairs professionals around the country and the world. Be big enough to say, you know what? I can't do that. That is against our ethics. Attorneys have ethics of things they can't do, and they're pretty strident about enforcing those things. We in the PR industry don't have the same enforcement, if you will, but we do have groups like the Public Relations Society of America and the IABC and other groups that really advocate for the ethics in our profession. So I hope that you'll check out the statement from the Public Relations Society of America. It's a good one. But also, let's use this example of this past week with the opening of this administration. Let's use this as an example to learn about how to communicate effectively and the dangers of going down that path of disinformation or spreading conspiracy theories or outright lying to the public. It's going to be, as I said, it's going to be very difficult to walk some of these lies back. They'll probably survive it, but it'll be very interesting to see if this is part of the playbook or it's just a matter of not being ready, not being prepared, or getting the wrong information, or being afraid to speak up to your boss about what's right or what's not. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Rich Klein, Rich Klein Crisis Management. This is the Crisis Show. We are on every 2 weeks, usually on Wednesdays, and you can find more information and our previous shows on our YouTube channel, the Crisis Show YouTube channel. We hope you check it out. And we are also on iTunes and the For Immediate Release Podcast Network. You can look for us there as well. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.